time with the defensive play. Now finds Jaylen Green. Oh, my goodness! He did it! Oh! Jazz, the Jazz turn it. Oh! Cam Whitmore. Şengün goes coast to coast. Oh! Here's Williams. Here comes both teams. Here comes Rocket Security. And we got
RedNationBlogga back with another video. I got a very special guest, my guy Brad. He's been locked in with me. We've been on playback, man. How you doing? How you been? What's going on?
I'm good. Big shout out to RedNationBlogga. He has been tapped in on the playback. We watch pretty much every single Rockets game together, so I'm doing good. It's a good little break, from the season, so I can't complain about anything.
Yeah, man, it was a much needed break. I was looking forward to it. I just couldn't deal with the ineptitude that we were seeing. We limped into the All-Star break after having a phenomenal January,
Right.
and I'm thinking they just gonna keep building. The schedule got softer, and the team got softer. So the team follows suit with the schedule. So it's kind of crazy. Before we get into the Houston Rockets, last night's bullshit that we saw. What was your outtake, like your outlook on all of that? Because I remember I was on playback with y'all for a little bit, and then I was like, man, I can't do this no more. It's too many commercials, too many shenanigans. Like, what was your outtake on the whole thing, outlook on the whole thing?
So start to finish, right? The way I'm looking at it is, okay, it's taking a minute to start, but I was content with the way the guys came out to play. I like that they brought some energy. I was like, okay. But then as we go on, like you mentioned, there's too many gimmicks. There's too many breaks. And even then, in the second game, the guys came out and played really good basketball. Like the Rising Stars, they played good hoops against
Yes, they did.
against the other guys. But then the middle break was just absurd. And there was a stat that came out. They only played 30 minutes and 40 seconds, and there were 2 hours and like 30 minutes of breaks.
Yep.
So by the time that championship rolls around, say you played in the first game, bro, I've been sitting down for 2 hours. I don't even want to hoop anymore at this point.
Bro. That's like, I'm ready to get to the after game shenanigans. I'm ready. So it was really ridiculous, man. Like I said, I was on playback with y'all. I said, man, I'm about to go crank up Madden, man. I just went to go play Madden because I just couldn't do it. Then I was happy that I did it because I woke up and I was like, oh, let me see what Sengun did. He played 19 seconds.
Yeah, he played 19 seconds.
19 seconds in the last game. I was pissed. I'm like, bro, that's BS. I think that they're going to do something, but I don't know how this was a good idea to anybody. I said all day, I would rather them. Everybody talked about the score of last game, how many threes guys attempted, lack of defense. I would rather watch that than what I watched last night, bar none. I would much rather watch that. That was just a crock of shit that they sold to us yesterday, man. But off of the All-Star break into the Houston Rockets, that's what people are here for. What has been your review of the first half of the season so far for the Houston Rockets? Are they exceeding expectations? Are they right where you thought they would be? Are they below expectations? Like, what is your review of the first half?
Crazy enough, I had these Houston Rockets at 53 wins, so they're actually below my win total expectations. But if you look at my standings, I had them at 7. I thought the West was going to have a ton of wins.
Wow.
But it does make sense. A competitive West, the win total should be down. So seeding wise, I will say they are above my expectations in the first half of the season. I did not see them as a top 2 team in the league, a top 3, top 4 team in the league. So to everyone's expectation, no one thought Houston was going to be a top 2, 3, 4 seed unless you were a Houston fan, like a diehard fan. I like what I'm seeing as a whole. They did limp into the All-Star break, like you mentioned, 2-6 in those last 8 games. Ever since Şengün got announced to the All-Star game, they just fell off a cliff. I saw last season, someone mentioned it, they were 2-7 going into the All-Star break. So it's something that happens commonly, with this Udoka-led team. So first half of the year, I can't complain. I want to see these guys get back healthy. They finished off with 13 games, I want to say. No, 8. It was 8 games in the last 13 days to go into the break. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then again, you're missing a lot of core guys, key guys.
Facts.
So I'm excited for them to get healthy. And if you look at the schedule in March, I think they can make another March run as they did last year.
Yeah, the schedule is really soft. I think we have like the easiest or the second easiest schedule by record, I guess, going into the playoffs. For me, for the first half of the season, I was another guy that said 50 wins. I thought 50 wins was like the minimum. I almost went to the point of 55 because like I just saw this team and I said I did the math internally in my head. I'm like, well, we got ravaged by injuries last year. Guys were in and out the lineup and they won 41 games. So I'm like, I'm just doing the math. Tari Eason missed 60 games. I know how important Tari Eason is to this team. Yeah. So when the injury happened, I was like, yeah, if Tari stay healthy, if a lot of guys don't miss 20 games at a time or combined or whatever the case may be, then yeah, this team can make a deep push. And I think that the January, it's hard to see how this team played in January with Jabari Smith going down with the schedule that they had, and they still won games. It's hard for me to look at that January schedule and how they played that month and then use injuries as an excuse for how they went into the All-Star break. But I really do feel that injuries like hampered the Rockets. Jabari Smith's impact was noticeable. Fred VanVleet missing was noticeable. And Ahmed Thompson, I just don't think is ready to have on full point guard playmaking responsibilities the whole game. And Jaylen Green, he in January he was phenomenal, and then in February he wasn't. So for me, for the review of the first half of the season, I just want us to get healthy because I said my whole prediction was contingent upon will the Rockets be healthy, and if they're healthy, this is a 50 to 55 win team. I firmly believe that.
Yep.
Maybe ceiling of a second round. Now, when they were the 2 seed and we were riding high, we was walking with our chest out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was beautiful. It was like I was riding on cloud nine, but now they come down to earth a little bit, and I do attribute a lot of that to injuries. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
that's my thing. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, for the first half of the season, I guess that's what it is. Segue into the next. Mm-hmm. Who has been the best player on the team so far?
Best player on the team.
Yeah, that's a tough question.
It is a tough question because you can go who's been most important and this and that. But consistency wise, and it is difficult because Şengün technically has been very inconsistent. But I'll roll with Şengün. Şengün, I would say, has been the best player on the team. He does, as I mentioned, need to get that efficiency back up. He's having a down year in that regard. But as a whole, you know what you're going to be getting from Alperen Şengün. He does have those terrible firsts, but stats show quarters 2 through 4, he's coming out and he's playing really good basketball. So I would say he's been the best.
It's that first quarter that's
awful.
Doing it.
He's shooting. He has a 44 true shooting percentage in the first quarter this year. I want to say crazy. I saw. So he's got.
I could just watch my eyes and I could believe you. I believe you. I don't need to look no numbers. You got the numbers on lock. I know that.
Yeah.
For me, I might surprise you with this answer. I might not.
You probably won't.
Ahmed Thompson.
Yeah,
I think he's been the best player.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Since November with the Terra Twins, when they were coming off the bench, guarding guys 94 feet, ripping them in half court, going down, dunking, second chance rebounds. I don't know if you saw the tweets today about how the Rockets fare. They're like the best offensive rebounding team in the last 2 decades or something like that. Just with Amen, with Tari, with Steven Adams, with Şengün. This team is putrid in a half-court offense from a traditional standpoint, but just our offensive rebounding percentage is just so good, and that's literally how they won games earlier this year, especially in the month of November when Jaylen was struggling, when Şengün, like you said, was having his issues in the first quarter, then he would clean up in the second through fourth quarters. The Golden State Warriors comeback that they had when they came down from 30, that was all just hustle from Amen and Tari. Like, I think Amen is the best player on this team. I really do. And only because of Şengün's first quarter woes. If Şengün I thought he would build off of what he was doing last year. He had the mid-range shot. It seemed like he had that flamingo jumper that we called it or whatever.
Yeah,
it seemed like
that anymore.
We don't see that anymore. He's not shooting consistently from the mid-range anymore. It's like it's in the paint or it's nothing. And I don't know. I think that knocked him down a little bit.
Yeah, I'll say this about Ahmed Thompson. And when you asked the question, that's the first thing I thought about. I would say it'll probably be obvious if he's starting the entire year, that's the answer I would have gave you. But even starting or not, impactful, he's probably been one of the most impactful players on the team, if not easily the best and most impactful
for sure
they've had. So,
yeah, for sure. And it's funny that neither one of us said Jaylen Green. But I think we're both even kill fans. We know what it is. Do you think that Jaylen Green can take the next step as a player? Are you sold for a guaranteed fact that he can take that next step and be an upper echelon scorer? Or how many more years of inconsistency, how many more seasons, I should say, of inconsistency can you take from Jaylen Green?
I'll say this. I was going to assess him at the end of the season to know because that's how much of a roller coaster the Jaylen Green experience is. We all saw what he did in January is outstanding. He's kind of come down since then. He always takes off in March, so I do want to see what happens in March. I want to see what happens in April. Ultimately, I want to see what he does in the playoffs. That's what's most important. I've always said with this entire Rockets team, right? Offseason choices are going to be made, but what happens in this postseason is going to be very important, and that's going to, leave a stain in Rafael Stone's brain. So if he comes out and performs in April, I'll have a different outlook on him. But as of right now, I'm not in the camp of, let's trade Jaylen Green this offseason. I'm just not there right now. I liked what I saw from him in January. And again, it is very roller coastery and it's annoying. But I really want to see what he does in March, as he always does, and then in the playoffs. And I can really assess what he does.
But can he take the next step?
Can he take the next step?
Yes.
I think he can.
Do you believe? Okay.
Do I believe?
I don't
know
that's a loaded question. Can is can. Do you, Brad, think he could take the next step as a Houston Rocket?
I think he can. Am I confident in it? That's a different question.
Okay, yes.
But we'll have to see. Like I said, I need to see what he looks like.
Yeah. I was so out on Jaylen, and then he had the January that he had, and I was like, okay, it feels different. And I think throughout the Rockets community, like, we knew it felt different. Like, we was like, this looks different. And how I judge him is, like, not the 20 points per game. I don't really care about that. Like, I look at, can you give us – in January, he did a thing. I said it all the time in my videos. People probably know. Can you start us off with scoring? Mm-hmm. Can you stop the bleeding? Can you close? Mm-hmm. And can you do it on a nightly basis? And in January, outside of maybe 3 games, he did that on a nightly basis. So I was like, oh, shoot, okay. It wasn't that unsustainable 42-point game on 2 free throws where he's super efficient. I don't really like those games from Jaylen because that's not how you no player is doing that on a nightly basis, like none. So I don't when those nights happen and they happen 3 times in a week, 3, 4, 5 times every 2 weeks or whatever the case may be, where it's 30-point games or 28-point games, like I get nervous because I'm like, here the lows are coming, But he was even killed. He even had some bad performances where he still managed to close, or he managed to stop the bleeding. You know what I mean? But more than anything with Jaylen Green, and again, I've said this over and over on my YouTube channel, like more than anything, it's the live ball turnovers that it take life out of me. When he tries, a lot of Rockets fans want him to initiate offense. They want Fred on ball less, and they want him on ball more. But it's like, as a coach, I wouldn't trust Jaylen Green to initiate my offense. So it's like, when the question is, can he take the next step? Can he? Yes. Do I think he can? Brad, I don't know. I'm not as optimistic as you. I'm not. And you're not even really optimistic. That's what's crazy.
I dead have to see.
I think you are. I think you are.
I kind of am. I just need to see it. Playoffs are a different animal.
Yeah.
I've seen him step up in certain times when they need him to. I've also seen him not do anything, like against OKC in that what they call it, the playing tournament. Yeah, he didn't do anything. The
playing tournament. Yeah,
he just kind of sat in the corner and chilled.
The Warriors games too. He haven't had a good game versus the Warriors this entire. If the Rockets draw the Warriors in the first round, brother, that we might go home.
I want to see it happen. I want to see them play the Warriors in the first round because that'll tell me a lot about this team. Again, I want to learn. A loss is good. The more we learn about this team, the better. Because regardless, I think they have a bright future. They have enough young talent and assets to have a bright future, regardless of what we see. But if they go out there and get smacked by the Warriors in the first round, then good. Then we know what we're going to do in the offseason.
Okay, well, that segues into my second to last topic, I guess. Potential targets in the offseason. And I know you're smart, so I know you're not gonna crash out. But what's the price depending upon the player? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go first on this one, then I'll let you go. So when y'all talk about KD, and I hear y'all in playback, and y'all talk about the price of what y'all willing to give up, me personally, I'm not saying that I want to do this. I'm not saying that I'm excited to do this. But I would give up Reed Shepherd and Cam Whitmore and 2-3 picks for Kevin Durant. But I feel like when I say that, I feel like y'all think that's a steep price. I don't. When I look at our half-court offense, when I look at our isolation, when I look at our shooting, I don't see that being a high price. I feel like that's fair. We're not giving up anybody from the core outside of Reed and Cam, obviously. But I don't know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so for sure, 2 Phoenix picks. And again, if you're going for KD, in my opinion, I mean, Book is not available. I'm sure Book is 1A for the Rockets. I don't think
I'd rather have KD. I know I get the youth, like
I'm
the
kind
youth
of,
thing, but
I'm kind of with you, and that's not
yeah,
crazy.
man.
People are gonna say, "Why would you want a 37-year-old to come in here? He doesn't
Because
fit
I
the
watched them
timeline."
versus the Rockets.
Yeah, so my answer to that is one. I don't think the price is that crazy for a 37-year-old on a 1-year deal, and Reed and Cam and 2-3 picks. I'll say this for one, they'll probably have to get off of Dylan. You have to kind of match that KD salary, and it's gonna have to be a few teams involved because Phoenix is under the second apron tax. But yeah, I mean, it would have to be the two lesser guys in that core seven right now. That is Cam and Reed. Hopefully, ideally, it could be one of those guys in like 3 picks. Because again, no one has a package the Rockets can offer for Kevin Durant. They have the leverage in this situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be ideally one. If it's two, then okay. But that would be my primary target. Like if this team, and I'll say this also without rambling, I would only
No,
probably
go
make
ahead.
this trade if they have a competitive first round or make it to the second. Because if not, there's no point in getting the KD because you're not going to do anything with him. The team has to at least look competitive to make a move for KD. Because at that point, it's just pointless because you're not going to really compete unless you plan on having KD for longer than 2 years or so. But the
Okay.
goal is you need to contend if you trade for Kevin Durant, and you need experience to win a championship regardless. So I'd like these guys to get good experience in the playoffs. Say they lose in like 6 in the second round. Yeah, go get KD. Go get KD. Regardless, I want to see them get KD, but
Wow.
they're not
Okay.
really making no run with KD if they're not competitive early on. This is how a young team is. It's just life.
That's surprising that you say that because I think no, you did say that you would want to make a trade for him regardless of how the postseason ended, but you said you wouldn't want to trade for him if they get like blown out the water in the playoffs or whatever the case may be. But if they get blown out the water in the playoffs, again, adding Kevin Durant to a mix of Jabari, Sengun, Amin, Tari, Jaylen, Fred, I think that gives the team a different confidence. I think
I
that,
would agree.
and now it makes everybody's job easier. And it also, I think, and I feel, in my opinion, that it makes KD's job easier because KD's best utilized as a scorer
Mm-hmm.
with no other responsibilities. He can do other things, but he's best used as a scorer. That's how Golden State utilized him, and they had everybody else around him do everything else. So now, if you have KD that say, "Hey, I need you in the half court," that's it. Isolation bucket. We try to run a set. It ain't working. We need a bucket with 3-4 seconds left. We need to get to the free throw line. That's what Kevin Durant can do. And he can also, at times, initiate offense. He can run the break. He's smart. You know what I'm saying? So I think regardless of how the playoffs go, and I don't think it's going to be pretty, especially with the half court offense. I'm just being honest with you. The half court offense is telling. Like, I'm not going to get to the playoffs and be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're gonna win a game or two off of grit and hustle. We might get hot from shooting the three or whatever. Jaylen might have a 40 ball. You know, Sengun might have a triple double. But I think one game is going to be hustle and grit. One game is going to be quote unquote skill, talent, whatever the case may be. And I just think that if all it takes, in my opinion, and I don't know if you agree with the price again, is Reed, Cam, and some picks, I'm doing that 10 out of 10. I know Reed has a high ceiling. I don't want to give up on that talent. Right. But if it means sacrificing Reed and Cam and keeping everybody else that I know is somewhat proven, I'm with that way more than I'm with holding on to those guys and going another year. But I can see if some people want to do that.
With KD, are you trading for him knowing I'm getting like an extension, bare minimum, or
yes?
So what would your extension be?
I don't see why he wouldn't extend here.
Yeah,
personally, like it's a winning situation. It's a team. It's a coach that you love. Royal Ivy is a former teammate. You know what I mean? Like Houston is a great city. Like I don't see him not signing here, and then you sign him to a 2-year. You know what I'm saying? He got 1 year left on his deal after this season, 1 year left on his deal after this season, right? So he has 1 year left on his deal. Then if you want, you can give him a 1+1 with a player option in that third season. So you get 2 years guaranteed out of him. You get next season, and then you get the season after that, right? And then the player option, correct? Okay, so I think that's fair for that, for Reed, Whitmore, and those picks. I think that's fair because you still have your core guys who are just going to get progressively better as they age, in my opinion. So, and with Ime's coaching, I think that's just going to happen anyway. So, yeah, KD and Amin, Tari Eason, good luck. Like, good luck. That's just how I feel, because we need a superstar to match Shea. to match Jokic, to match Luka,
Yeah.
to match to match Ja. Like we need a superstar scorer. We need that. Like that's necessary.
Last thing I'll say
Go
on
ahead.
KD front. Last thing I'll say, and I
No, it's cool.
did say I would only ideally like to make the move if they look competitive. Regardless, if they make the move, I'm gonna be happy, right? Because for all the reasons we've talked about, they need a guy like Kevin Durant, and if you get him extended, that's cool with me too. Because if they don't contend the first year he's there, they would definitely contend the second year that he's there. I would just say, it would be nice if they would show a little some this year so they could contend going forward. But yeah, Kevin Durant is a perfect acquisition.
But what if we were supposed to leave this topic, but I don't care. We're talking now. What if they make a good run in the postseason and then they trick us into thinking that we don't need to make a move, and then we run into this same roadblock again with Jaylen being inconsistent or with Amen only being in year 3? And maybe if that's the case, then hey, at the worst, you just failed again with some 23-year-olds. And then after that, you failed again with some 24-year-olds until you break through.
I think at the end of the day, they'll be fine because those picks aren't losing value. The young talent they have, I don't think they'll lose any value.
That's true. So I guess that's the worst case scenario. That is a really good point. And as I was saying it, I figured out like, well, they still young. It's not like they 28, 29. Exactly. It's not like they only 28, 29. So I guess last topic before we close it out. Mm-hmm. What do you expect them to do in the home stretch? What do you expect this team to do in the home stretch? Because I'm gonna get nasty if I say what I expect, especially if they stay healthy. So what do you expect them to do in the home stretch going into the postseason?
So I expect them to finish on a very hot streak. It's going to be tough to catch Memphis. They're in the 2 spot. They caught their group. They finally healthy. It's going to be tough to finally catch Denver, who's also healthy and playing really good basketball. Mm-hmm. Them aside, I know what this Houston Rockets team can do, especially when they get everybody back. And now they're starting Amen Thompson. They haven't been healthy since they've inserted Amen Thompson into that starting lineup. So a healthy team with the men in the starting lineup, I think this team can be really good. And that probably puts them against the Lakers in the first round, which won't be pretty.
Yeah, man. I don't want to see Luka and LeBron.
And I'm not scared about the Lakers. I just saw them get blown out the waters by Utah. I mean, they're not the best team in the world. They have no beat, right? But again, you playing Bron in the first round, experience will take over. What am I expecting though? I think they'll get 50 wins. Right now they're 31-14, if I'm not mistaken.
So 19 more wins.
Yeah, give me 19 wins. And they'll get that. Yeah, they have to be 19-17. It doesn't sound right. What's their record?
They're 31-26. No, I'm tripping. 31-19, 18.
14. I was wrong. They're 34-21. Yeah. They'll
34-21. Great job.
Yeah, they'll give me 17-10. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see what I expect in the home stretch, man. I think that again, this is all dependent upon health. They're going to pick up right where they left off. That's why they were the 2 seed. I think that was one of the main reasons why they were where they were in the standings is because they were healthy. They had a lot of versatility in the lineups. They found new ways to play. So now that, assuming everybody comes back at the All-Star break, which you told me that's probably the case with Jabari. That's probably the case with Fred.
He's questionable Friday, by the way.
Fred is?
Jabari
is questionable for Friday. Okay, questionable is way better than doubtful. So Jabari probably been itching at the bit to get back. I think that they are going to finish strong. They're going to win. They're going to finish with 52, 53 wins, like you said, around that mark. And in the playoffs, we will see. All I want more than anything in the world is health.
Yes.
Because even if Jaylen doesn't play well, this team can still play. Mm-hmm. This team can still match up with different guys. And I think in the home stretch, they're going to finish strong, and I just hope that they stay healthy. Do you think that when Jabari comes back, he's coming off the bench?
I think they should start him.
I think they should start him too. I think Dillon should go to the bench.
Yeah. Will they do that? I wish I could say.
I don't think they do it.
But I did see one of the Rockets reporters say Amen was saying in the starting lineup. I don't know how much she knows, but I mean, we'll see. But Jabari, everything he brings to the table, he needs to start. That's all I know.
I think so too. I think that he should definitely start, and I think Dillon has, maybe he needed the All-Star break too, but I just don't think that. I don't think Dillon. I think Dillon now is evident, bruh. Go to the bench. That's it. It's that simple.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Fred, Amen, Jaylen, Jabari, Sengun. Let's start running. Let's start shooting. Let's get more spacing. I think that's the best lineup for it all, man. But
And yeah,
I guess
I'll
you
do
got
this real
something
quick.
else? Go ahead.
I am the stat man, so I'll throw some quick Jabari
Yes,
stats. It
please.
looked like
That's
you're
what I
about to
need.
close.
No,
So that's
cool.
what I need. Yeah,
No, I
so
need
Jabari in his last 21 games, he was shooting 41.2% from three. That's helpful for a Rockets team that, again, needs spacing. He's one of the best spacers on the team outside of Fred and Jaylen. Statistically, there's a metric on it. He spaces the floor that good with this Rockets team. He's that important. You also have the blocks, 1.2 blocks per game, which is perfect next to Şengün. So they need that rim protection. They've been missing that. They went from the number 2 defense since he was in the lineup to like in the 20s since he's been out. They missed that defensive rim protection that he brings, and they're way worse on the boards since he's been gone on the defense.
Yeah, that was
side.
noticeable.
So all that
Jabari
into
been
play,
on glass.
he needs to start. That's all.
I agree with you. What I also used to like early in the season when Jabari was here, they had Şengün roaming, and Jabari would be on the other guy. I think that was one of the reasons why defense. Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why defense was what it was, and why we did what we did, and how we was able to rebound. So yeah, I agree with you, man. But Brad, appreciate you so much for coming on, man. I'm gonna be on playback with you guys on Friday, I believe, and that's another podcast episode. Thank you guys for watching so much. Please like and subscribe. Brad, let them know where they can find you. I'm sure they know you more than they know me, but go ahead, bro. Let them know where they can find you, man.
If y'all don't know me, BradeauxNBA, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. If y'all want to check out the podcast, the Bradeaux and Will Show. And then on playback, if y'all don't know, the Houston Live Room, where you can catch RedNationBlogga and myself and a few other guys watch every single Rockets game live for a great experience. So that's where you guys can find.
And if y'all don't know Will, he loves mid-range shots. So that's all y'all need to know about. He loves mid-range jumpers, man. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment below. Let us know what we missed, what we didn't miss. Let us know what you liked and what you didn't like. We out.